Here's your host, Bill Lasky.
Welcome into a Wednesday night extra inning. I should say Sports Phone KNBR show. My fault. I usually do my extra inning shows, but Sports Phone KNBR Wednesday night. Welcome in. Sorry about that. But the Giants win a game in 10 innings. It started with a home run in the first inning by Yaz, and it ended up with a ghost runner scoring in the 10th inning. And the Giants prevailed after losing the lead in the bottom of the 9th inning, tying it up by Marte's home run by Camilo Duvall, and the Giants end up scoring one in the top of the 10th inning, and Camilo Duvall shuts it down and going 2 innings, something he's never done before. But boy, he was sharp in the 10th inning. I think he had a little aggressiveness after they gave up that home run to Marte. You know, he was popping the ball a little harder. The sinker was flying a little faster, and the breaking ball was sharper, and he had to come through, and the Giants finally break this 4-game losing streak. Their 36th one-run game. They're 20-16 in one-run games, and this had a little bit extra on it because the Giants were so pressure-filled here in the last 4 games. They were 1-7 in their last 8. They jump out to a 2-0 lead in the first inning. They add on in the 5th. And then all of a sudden, Landon Roop did the same thing that Hayden Birdsong did. Started walking people. Don't understand why this is happening the second time around in the order. And Landon Roop just lost it, and he was so stellar for 4 innings. He had thrown 62 pitches, 40 for strikes. He was dialed in for 4 innings, and in the 5th inning, everything started with an Alex Thomas home run, a walk, another walk, a base hit, and he was taken right out of the game. But this is where the game changed. Eric Miller comes in and just was spot on. Strikes out Smith, gets a sac fly ball to right field, and then punches out Henry Cerez. And it was just an outstanding job by Eric Miller. Spencer Bivens comes in, gives him a full inning. Randy Rodriguez again gives him a full inning, no runs. Tyler Rogers comes in, gives up a hit up the middle. Tyler Fitzgerald tries to make a Sports Center play, and he ends up throwing it in the dugout, and it really cost the Giants a run there, an unearned run. And all of a sudden, the game was a little tighter going into the bottom of the 9th. Camilo Duvall comes in, gives up a base hit to Perdomo, and throws a slider right down the middle to the starting second baseman of the National League All-Star game. Marte hits a home run, his 18th of the year, and everybody, I know I was, my stomach was growling, and just couldn't believe how it transferred into a tie game. And we knew it was going to happen in the 10th inning with the ghost runner. Didn't know what Bob Melvin was going to do, what he was going to try to do in putting a pitcher out there in the 10th, and he kept Camilo in, and I thought that was a great move by Bob Melvin, keeping Camilo in. He only threw 29 pitches in 2 innings, and he was spot on. He was about the only one that could get those strikeouts. You had Walker down there, that one to worked, and I think that was the only option he was thinking about, and it worked for the Giants. The Giants end up winning this game 6-5. Now they're 46-41, something now they can build off of in tomorrow's game, and if they can pull that out and split with the Diamondbacks, Robbie Ray on the hill, he's 8-3 with a 2.7 earned run average. A good stopper here, another guy that can go out there and give you some innings, and he has been, I believe, an all-star this year. We'll find out if him and Logan Webb make it, and maybe somebody in the bullpen. He's going against Brandon Pfaadt. He's 8-5 with a 5.3 earned run average. His month of June is really not done well. He's 1-1 with a 6.26 earned run average in 5 starts. So a good opportunity tomorrow to take some momentum into this 4th game, and we'll find out right here on KNBR First Pitch at 6:40. 415-808-KNBR. Get on the phone lines. Got a few coming in now. Let's get a break and come back to phones. My name's Bill Lasky. This is Sports Phone KNBR. We'll come right back on the Sports Leader.
YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Alexander off third. Doval set. The 1-2 pitch is swung on and missed. He got him with a slider in the dirt. Bailey tags out Thomas, and the game is over. Camilo Doval bounces back in the bottom of the 10th after Gurriel flies out with that possible tying run at third. Back-to-back strikeouts of McCarthy and Thomas, and the Giants get an enormous win as they snap their 4-game skid and in 10 innings beat the Arizona Diamondbacks 6-5.
Back on Sports Phone KNBR with Bill Lasky on a Wednesday. Giants prevail. They score 1 in the 10th, a ghost runner, and they pull this out 6-5. A great win for the San Francisco Giants as they stop the 4-game losing streak. And something they needed to do, something they can build off of now. And it all started with Jung-Hoo Lee. What a game he had. 3 for 5, a single, a double, and a triple. Played some great defense in center field. The first 3-hit game he's had since May 6th, and the first multi-hit game since June 4th. So something that he has to get going here as we start the month of July. The Giants need to get a couple more hitters doing that. Rafael Devers had a nice 2-2 base hit in the 5th inning after Brett Wisely got a leadoff double. That was a key hit for Rafael Devers. In the 8th inning, once again, Patrick Bailey got an RBI up the middle. These are all key hits by hitters that have been slumping. He also got a nice sac fly in the 10th inning to bring in the ghost runner. So some key hits by some hitters that need to get going here in the Giants lineup. And these are things that are happening. Brett Wisely played a great game at third base, had 2 knocks today. He went 2 for 4 with an RBI, filling in at third base. And then everything kind of switched in the 10th inning. He ended up playing second. Smith ended up going to first, and Flores went to third. So a lot of jungling around there in that 10th inning when Ramos pinch hit, got a base hit up the middle, and then ended up Smith getting to a 4-6-3 double play to end that inning. I just look back at what happened with the pitching part, and I want to talk a little bit about Landon Roop as well as Tyler, as well as Hayden Birdsong. Both these guys are young pitchers, first year, full years in starting, and it just seems like they're putting more pressure on themselves. They're trying too hard, and they're trying to spot the ball instead of throwing the ball. And as an ex-pitcher as I am, watching this happen and how it unravels, it's 3-0, 3-0. They're not even close on some of these pitches. Landon Roop for 4 innings was excellent. Everything was working. The sinker, the curveball, the cutter, the changeup. And then he went out in the 5th inning, gave up the home run to Thomas, and everything just kind of fell apart. Something that they're going to have to look into at these young pitchers. They also said before the game, Hayden Birdsong will get his start against the Athletics on Sunday. They're going to give him another start and see how he works out some of the kinks he has. And the same thing with Landon Roop. When you look at his last few outings, Landon Roop didn't walk anybody against the White Sox, didn't walk anybody against the Red Sox. So he came in with 11 1/3 innings with no walks. And he was doing great. He had 1 walk in the 4th inning with 2 outs, real close pitch, but he ends up getting out of the inning. And then the 5th inning, I would really like to ask him, what was he thinking about? Was he trying too hard? Was he pushing the sinker too hard? Was he pushing the cutter too hard? Because the balls were moving off the plate, and he got in trouble. Eric Miller cleaned it up. Just an outstanding job by the lefty, Bivens, Rodriguez, Rogers, and then Duvall in the 2nd inning. But really, Duvall just couldn't get it going to the first 2 hitters. Perdomo hit that little base hit to left field, and the pitch that I just couldn't believe, he threw a slider to Marte, and it was right down the middle, and he didn't miss it. Ketel Marte has 18 home runs already this year. He'll be the starting second baseman for the National League All-Star when it's played in Atlanta, and he didn't miss that pitch. And I think everybody's stomach just kind of rolled over right then. It was just a gut punch. But the Giants came back, and I think that's what we have to look at for this game. The Giants fought back in that 10th inning with the ghost runner on second, which was Jung-Hoo Lee. Ramos pinch hit and just hit a good pitch, a good cutter by Miller, and he got it up the middle far enough where Marte just got a glove on it, but it made it first and third. Bailey hits the sac fly, and they got to run in. I was so proud of what Bob Melvin did by telling Camilo Duvall to go back out there in the 10th inning. That was probably the best reliever that could have done it, and he didn't throw that many pitches. After he gave up the home run, a fly ball, a grounder to first, and a strikeout. So I think that just got him going, and you saw his face coming off the mound. He was very upset at himself, but he went back out there in 10th inning, and he did his job and kept the runner at third base, and the Giants win this game 6-5. 415-808-KNBR. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Daniel in Sacramento. Daniel, an exciting game today. What'd you think?
Boy, did we need that win tonight, and man, was it entertaining. It was a rare game I got to watch on TV versus hearing over the radio, But what an atmosphere. It was a bit nerve-wracking, though, especially when they tied up at the ninth.
Yeah, that was the tough one right there. I think.
I'm sorry.
I was just saying, I don't think people saw that one coming. It was just a gut punch right then and there. And when you see that and how it translated to tie the game up, you just didn't know what was going to happen next.
I kind of had a feeling they were going to win with that atmosphere. There's just like electricity in the air watching this game. Roop reminded me of Birdsong. He was pitching so well until that fifth inning, and I just couldn't wait for him to be relieved. Was it Adames being the team comedian when he attempted that steal to second during that foul ball, and he kind of did the thinking man's pose? I chuckled.
He's a character. He plays real loose, which is good. You want to see him having fun, and I love seeing it out of players because the relaxed atmosphere. He's playing his heart out. When he beat that ball out for that base hit down the third base line, he kind of looked like he was going through the finish line with his hands to the side, and he got a base hit. I think that's what he was real happy about, Daniel.
Right. Devers finally gave us an RBI. What a clutch hit, man! That third run he gave us.
That was a key hit. That was an add-on run that they needed.
That center. How many fly balls did Lee catch, man? He was all over the place with all his runs, and I think he's the player of the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, Jung-Hoo Lee played really well tonight. It was a spark in this lineup. You needed that flair, within the lineup to get the hits, and his defense is always shining. And when you watch teams play at Chase there, that outfield is so large, and they got 3 road runners on their team with the Diamondbacks. The Giants with Jung-Hoo Lee in center field, he covers a lot of room, and there was a couple deep fly balls that he caught. But he needed that game. I think his spirit was broken. He had a bad month of June. Everything was going against him, hitting about $120. And today, with a day off yesterday, when the first hit he got was that triple, and it was the swing path was there. He hit it so solidly, and he got it to deep right center field. I was just hoping Flores would score. He was huffing and puffing already in the first inning.
What an entertaining game that was. Thanks for taking my call.
Daniel, thanks for the call. It was fun. Fun game, but let's go to Don. He's in San Francisco. Don, an exciting game, a nail-biter, and, of course, the ghost runner wins it for the San Francisco Giants.
Well, it was just a thrilling game. I thought it looked like they're going to lose this game the way I look at the situation. Oh, I was worried when they tied that game. Oh, my God, here we go again. You know what I'm saying?
I think everybody thought that, Don. It was a gut punch, and they thought the same thing in that dugout because you weren't thinking that. And with Perdomo, man, he had a great game today. Perdomo was on the base 5 times. He had 3 hits. And all he was doing, all these guys do is they look to flare. They look to make contact. That's what they do at this ballpark. It works for the Diamondbacks. You see a lot of little dribblers through the middle of the infield or little bloops. But it works for the Diamondbacks. But tonight the Giants prevailed and pulled this one out.
I just hope they can keep it up. That's just my only thing I'm thinking about. You know what I'm saying?
Well, one win may go to the momentum, get it in that clubhouse. That clubhouse is a lot looser tonight than it's been. They had a 4-game losing streak, 1-7 in their last 8, and a win sparks the momentum. And I think, Don, that's what we're all looking for tomorrow with Robbie Ray on the hill.
Okay, then. Thanks a lot, Bill.
Don, thanks for the call on a Wednesday night. Appreciate it. I think most Giants fans are happy. Of course, we won the game. The Giants ended up fighting for this game, getting the lead in the first inning, adding on in the fifth, just like what Don was talking, with Devers getting that nice base hit in the fifth, adding 2 more in the eighth. I thought that eighth inning was exciting for the Giants with Jung-Hoo Lee gets a base hit, Matos gets a walk, really walked a good at bat there, 3-2, fouled off a couple. Patrick Bailey gets a 2-2 pitch up the middle, a base hit up the middle. And then Brett Wisely, really a kid that was really wondering where he was going. He got picked off twice, if you remember. He wasn't hitting the ball well. Today, they put him at third base. He played a great third base on defense. And he came up with a nice double leading off the fifth inning. And then he got a base hit in that eighth inning that scored the second run. I thought he played a great game today along with Jung-Hoo Lee. Both of them, I think, were players of the game in my mind on the offensive side. On the pitching side, you have to look at Eric Miller. He just cleaned up that mess he got with bases loaded and nobody out and only gave up 1 run. Let's go to Ari in Oakland. Ari, is it that? Am I saying your name right? I apologize if I'm not.
Oh, it sounds beautiful when you say it. I love it.
Oh, all right. Well,
Sounds
I guess
great.
I was right. I'm spelling it Ari, and I'm like, okay, let me try it. But so I'm right. I'm right once tonight.
Oh, no
worry,
doubt.
Ari.
You know, watching that game tonight, Bill. Man, talk about mediocrity, man. I mean, John Wooden always says, "Don't confuse activity for achievement." That was not a win.
I love
tonight.
that one.
The Diamondbacks.
Man, I'm a
very
John
easy.
Wooden
They
fan
let
right there
somebody-
with you, Ari. I read John Wooden books. I follow John Wooden. I got to meet John Wooden. What a fabulous coach he was. I'm glad you brought his name up tonight. He was one of a kind, wasn't he?
He is. John Wooden is the greatest. We'd go to UCLA basketball games, and he'd be courtside, and you can go shake his hand and get an autograph.
Yeah.
Very humble, very intelligent. Too bad he doesn't have his pyramid here over for the Giants
Good one.
to read and
Love
stuff
it.
like that. But
Love it.
yeah,
Ari. I
Wooden
love
would
that.
tell everybody, the Giants, the way they're pitching, it's not gonna happen. We got Devers striking out. Adames is not doing. Look at it's not that they're not producing. It's after they get a hit or their home run. What are the next 2 at bats? Yastrzemski bad after his home run, and the same thing with Adames, and the same thing with Devers. So whatever we got today, and look at the pitiful victory against the White Sox, that 3-1. Take those 2 victories away, we're on a super losing streak. And I love Buster, and I'm glad he gave Bob Melvin the extension. That's good. The coaching staff can relax. They all have families. They have money. They have bills. That's beautiful, man. I know they need that.
Very nice.
Better to
Way to
relieve the
go,
stress.
man. You're summing up great, man. Nice job tonight, Ari.
Well, I met you at the Fan Fest. Me and you were going to do a show together. I was on Marty Lurie's show all the time, and I said, "Hey, I usually go by Jake in Alameda," and people at the Fan Fest are like, "You're Jake from Alameda?" I'm like, "Yeah." So I gave you my card, and you gave me your number, and you're like, "Man, we got to get together, and you got to be on the show." So I always like your show's great. I always love calling your show, and so do all Marty's old callers. All of them are on your show now. And you're the second coming of Marty. I know Marty listens to the show. I know all the owners listen to the show. And you do a great job. And, this is the Giants' year, but just like you said, John Wooden, don't confuse activity for achievement. Buster's doing
goodness.
great. He's
So
got to do
good,
better.
Ari. So
He's got to
good,
do
Ari.
better.
So let me throw you a
Thanks
question
a lot,
before
Bill.
you dissolve. Let me
Oh,
hold on,
yeah,
Ari.
yeah.
Don't go yet. Don't
Okay.
go yet, Ari.
I won't.
You're too
I'm
good
here.
at what you're talking about, and you looked at this team and you saw what happened with the last 4 games. The offense just kind of fell off the earth. Really, no contact, too much strikeouts. Don't you believe that the pressure is starting to mount on some of these starting pitchers when you look at Birdsong and Roop? Do you think they're putting pressure on themselves and not obtaining the confidence in the middle innings? Because both of them have frailed here yesterday and today.
To me, it looks like they're trying to make a mechanical adjustment while they're in season. If you listen to guys like Trevor Bauer, he talks about making a mechanical adjustment. It took him 3 years. So I mean, to me, it doesn't even look like they're pitching. It looks like
Ari, the balls tonight it wasn't mechanical. The balls were moving so much, and I think both these guys try to overthrow sometimes, especially their secondary pitches where the curveball's throwing too hard out of the zone, the slider's too hard out of the zone, and it misses, and it's off an inch or 2 inches. From the mound, it looks like a strike. Roop looked at the home plate umpire a couple times tonight on some of the pitches, but I just feel that they're stressing out a little bit. If they could score some runs for these young pitchers and give them a lead, I think it would relax them.
Well, you see when they're pitching, you're at 100% right. Maddox could throw 94, but he wanted to take it back to 89, just put it over the middle of the plate and conserve his energy.
Movement.
Same thing with Koufax. He was so hard. The catcher's like, dude, you need to just take something off and let these guys hit the ball. So you're exactly right. When you overthrow that ball.
The same way. I did the same thing. When I had good movement, I would take more speed off and get more spin or more movement. That's what we learned how to pitch.
The more
velocity. We learned how to pitch.
Right, you're exactly right. The more velocity you have, the more spin on the spin rate, the less movement you're going to have within the zone. That's why you see when Maddox will throw his changeup and exactly, you're throwing it too hard.
Yep.
You can't throw a sinker full speed, and think you're going to you're going to get most of that movement really, really late by the belt. And if you're overpowering and overthrowing it, you're out of the zone. So it really doesn't matter what it does. And if you see the Diamondbacks, they're not
control it. Yeah, so
absolutely.
Look
and now what? Now you're behind in the count. Yeah,
always.
Look at the
and that's
Diamondbacks. Look at the Diamondbacks. They're not overthrowing.
Yeah.
Diamondbacks.
Well, Harry, thanks for the call,
They're
man. Thanks for the call. It's always a pleasure talking to you, and good stuff tonight. I appreciate your time. Let's go to Jimmy. He's in Marin. Jimmy, a good game by the Giants, a battle all the way through the 10th inning. An exciting win, but the Giants needed this.
Absolutely. First-time caller, long-time listener. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thanks for
calling
one thing
in,
Jimmy.
Noticed,
a pleasure.
Thank you. One thing I noticed the Giants are doing a little bit differently, and maybe it's Buster Posey, but they're giving guys a break. Ramos sat yesterday. You've seen that with Yastrzemski, Jung-Hoo Lee. Having that mental break in the day off, do you think that's helping them improve, letting other guys play? Watching other guys
it helps
play.
them get away from that.
It
gets them away from that everyday same routine, and it gets them a day just to forget about it. Take the pressure off yourself. When you're looking at both Devers and Ramos coming into this game, they were 2 for 19 each on this road trip, and it's just not working today. Finally, Devers got a nice hit in the 5th inning, which was a key hit to add a run in. Once you take that break, they did it for Jung-Hoo Lee yesterday. They did it for Willie Adames back in the day when they gave him Sunday off and they went to Colorado, gave him Monday off. It does get you out of the routine. It gives you a mental break. It gives you to forget about what's going on that day and forget about the game. Yaz talked about it also, Jimmy, when he had a couple days off. He says you just forget about the game. You come in as a cheerleader knowing you got the day off, you might get a pinch hit. Ramos was feeling ill today. That's why they took him out of the starting lineup. But he comes in the 10th inning and pinch hits and gets a base hit up the middle. So you're absolutely right, Jimmy, about guys getting a break here and there. And I think Bob Melvin's fantastic at doing that.
Yeah. Devers swings hard. Maybe he needs a day off just to think about it. God, I love his swing.
He's been playing every game.
Aggressive.
Yeah, Jimmy, you're absolutely right. He swings hard, and a lot of times he's been striking out lately, and that's something that I don't see out of him. In the years past, he's always hitting the ball to left field. I haven't seen him hit the ball to left field much lately.
Yeah. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Jimmy, good call. First-time caller, and I appreciate your time tonight. Let's go to Mike. He's in San Jose. Mike, Giants win. They needed a win. They get it. Break that 4-game losing streak. Let's see what Robbie Ray does tomorrow.
Tell me about it.
Go ahead, Mike.
Stressor, man. This had to have been the most stressful game of the season. Don't you agree?
Come on. Were you biting your nails or what? Were you pacing the room?
After that losing streak, they absolutely had to win this game. And what won the game for me, you're right, Eric Miller, totally. But what really had to happen, because you knew Duvall was coming in the ninth, they had to get insurance. And when Bailey and Wisely came through, I said, all right, tonight's our night. And then sure enough, Duvall gave it up, but then he got that second chance. But, oh, my gosh.
Did you think it was a good move by taking him by Bob Melvin saying, get your butt back out there in the 10th? I thought it was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah, they won the game, so it worked out, like it was a good move.
But, you start looking at what other options you had down there. You know, when you looked at what options, Mike, there wasn't many down there that could go in there and strike out somebody because you got the ghost runner. You needed somebody to punch somebody out, and he ended up punching out the last two to get the win.
Yeah, thank God he found that slider when he needed it.
Whew.
But
yeah, nasty
you know,
one.
the thing, my son asks me all the time because he's a little leaguer and he's just learning the game. Like, why are the Giants? Why are they play so great and then they play so bad? And I don't even know what to tell him. It's like it's a hard game. It's a very hard game. Wasn't it great to see Jung-Hoo Lee come back like he did tonight?
I thought that was the big spirit of that whole lineup today, and that's what the Giants need. He is such a catalyst to get things going, and I would love to see him back in the leadoff spot. I don't think he's a three-hitter now that Devers is here, but if you could get him in that leadoff spot doing what he does, spray the ball all over the field today, he just let a little spark in him today, didn't you think?
Oh, sure did. I'll tell you something funny. We were at the final Red Sox game, and it was the most exciting game I've ever seen in my life. And I grew up in Boston. I grew up a Red Sox fan, and then I switched back in the 80s. And then they went on that terrible losing streak. So we go from this high, this mountaintop experience at Oracle on that Sunday afternoon, and then this nightmare of the Marlins series, and then the White Sox. Tonight they had to win this game. So,
yeah, I felt so
goodness.
too. I thought tonight was a game they needed to perform well, and they did. Some good defense, even though there was a couple plays where Matos missed the cutoff man and had to run her between second and third. That was confusing a little bit, and the ball got through it. Wisely picked it up, and they had the runner in between second and third, and they ended up getting bases loaded. But as you said, Eric Miller came in. I thought that was one of the best cleanup jobs you had in the middle of the game.
Yeah, we got to give credit to that pitching coach because last year Eric Miller couldn't get anybody out. So
J.P. Martinez does a great job. He does a great job with these guys, and so does Garvin Alston, the bullpen coach. He gets this bullpen ready, and you know you don't give them much credit. Those guys in the bullpen understand what's going on. They have the iPads, they got the charts, they're watching the game, and as the relievers are warming up, they're telling them you're in probably next hitter or two hitters down. This is what we got on them. The education they have and how they progress and move that, I think that's huge.
Yeah, and Duvall has improved from last year. I mean, come on, remember last year? He has improved. He has these hiccups, but he has improved.
Yep. Well, Mike, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate your time tonight. All right, we're going to take a quick break on the Sports Phone KNBR show on a Wednesday. We have a few callers on hold, 415-808-KNBR. Jeff Young's going to join me later on in the show. Of course, he writes for Fanside, covers the San Francisco Giants, does a great job, covers the minor leagues too, so we'll talk to him in a little bit. But I'm Bill Lasky. We're going to take a quick break, come back with more right here on the Sports Leader.
Boys Heard, Sports Phone KNBR. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Here's the windup and the one-strike pitch. And Yastrzemski, it's a high drive. Deep right field. It is gone! Mike Yastrzemski starts the game off with a home run and puts the Giants on top 1-0. I would say that's quite a bit more aggressive.
Back on Sports Phone KNBR, that was the 7th leadoff home run Mike Yastrzemski's had in his career, and it was a big plus right there as the Giants jumped in 1 run, and then what happens? Flores gets a walk, and Jung-Hoo Lee hits a triple to right center field. The fun part was watching Wilmer Flores run the bases from first base and scoring, and here it was in the first inning. He was huffing and puffing, and we know how fast Wilmer was, but Matt Williams with the windmill on, and Wilmer Flores scored the second run, and the Giants were up 2-0. He added 1 in the 5th inning when Brett Wisely got a nice double leading off that inning, and Rafael Devers with a 2-2 fastball drilled one down the right field line after 2 outs. So it was a 2-out knock right there. The Giants took a 3-0 lead. They added 2 more in the 8th, but the home run ball in the bottom of the 9th inning by Kentel Marte tied the game up. The Giants ended up winning it with a ghost runner in the 10th inning. Jung-Hoo Lee was the ghost runner. Ramos gets a base hit up the middle. It was 1st and 3rd, and Patrick Bailey got a sac fly to center field to get that winning run in, the 6th run, and the Giants ended up winning 6-5. They're 46-41 right now, 20-16 in 36 one-run games, 21-24 on the road. They have 4 more games on this road trip. They play Arizona tomorrow, and then they come into Sacramento and play the Athletics Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, all night games on the 4th of July weekend in Sacramento. 415-808-KNBR. I'm Bill Lasky. We're taking more calls. Let's go to John in San Jose. John, an exciting game, a gut puncher. What did you feel about this game?
Well, Bill, thanks for taking my call. You've had some very thoughtful, very technical calls tonight. This is not one of those calls. I wanted to ask you a question.
All right, bring it on me, John. Let me hear what you got to say.
Now, obviously, I've never run super highly functioning teams. You know, only a certain number of people play in Major League Baseball. And obviously, these guys are trying the best they can to win. They are absolutely pressing. Did you ever have a manager or hear of a team having a manager that was like, boys, go out tonight. I want you to go have a lot of libations. We're skipping batting practice tomorrow. Go to a den of disrepute if you must. Do what you got to do. Flush it. Like, I'm advocating you guys just get absolutely annihilated and come back tomorrow.
No, they don't do that. They don't do anything like that. You know, I tell you what usually happens is players do that. The veterans usually take you out and say, come on, we're going to go have a couple beers and talk about it. They did this yesterday, John. I don't know if you listened to the show, but they took batting practice off yesterday. They said no batting practice. Come in, strap it on, we're going right at it. Now, they've done that before. When I played in the 80s and 90s, managers did that because guys were pressing. And I thought Bob Melvin did a great move. It didn't work last night because he had 15 up, 15 down after the 4th inning. Questions come about it. A lot of guys want to have that routine. But no manager is going to go out. Boys, go out there and get hammered. Nobody's going to do that. And with social media the way it is now, they definitely won't do something like that.
Yeah, well, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, you know, I guess anecdotally, I was thinking some of the best golf I've played, I've either had a bad cold or I've just haven't been feeling great from the night before. Because it makes you think about something else. Sometimes you get so caught up in the mechanics of what you're doing that it just kind of takes you away from the feel of it. And I know these guys are great ball players. The Dodgers may never lose a game again this year. So, you know, we're gonna scrap it together and put together the best we can with the squad we've got. And I'm just happy that they're playing exciting baseball and we're still in it. Hopefully we can stay kind of in the hunt here as the season goes on.
I'm right there with you, John. I think tonight it breaks the losing streak. Yeah, all these guys are pressing so hard, as you said. You can see them stressing out after bad swing and misses or balls out of the zone. And some of the times when they're watching strike 3 when the ball's right there, the stress does add. And I think it's adding up. And tonight was a game where you were just wondering, is it going to continue or not? It didn't, and the Giants ended up winning. And tomorrow you got a good stopper coming. Robbie Ray's going to go out there as one of your top line aces, and a lot of left-hand hitters on this Diamondback team. So you're going to flip on a lot of new faces in this lineup, and maybe that's going to help the Giants get some early runs. They're facing Brandon Pfaadt. He has not been pitching well. But so did Zach Gallen yesterday. Yesterday, Zach Gallen pitched a hell of a game, the best one he's threw all year.
And Bill, if I can just ask one question, I'll take it off the air if you'd like. What did you do when you were pressing? Did you have something that you enjoyed doing, or a way that you kind of broke yourself away from the game to kind of reset yourself?
Yeah, there was things you did. You know, a lot of guys go to music. You listen to music. You just kind of walk up, get away from it. I did a lot of running in between starts, so I used to just go run and put headphones on, and I'd run away from Candlestick, because when we played Candlestick, I'd run the parking lots, I'd run the hills, and I'd get away from everything. I'd get to the ballpark, tell my pitching coach, hey, I'm going to go run. And I'd just put my plastic top on. Back then, if you remember those plastic tops, you sweat like hell with. Put that on, put a headphone on, put a Sandy around my head like a sweatband. That's what we used to always wear. And I would just take off, and I would clear my head by running. A lot of guys do different things, you know. A lot of them lift weights. A lot of them try to do things just to get the stress off you. It's hard. You're playing 162 games. You're in with the same club 9-10 months. That's your family. There's ups and downs in the clubhouse, but the whole key is if you stay together up and down, the team builds momentum and they build confidence. And, John, some great points tonight. I appreciate your call. Let's go to Michael. He's in Antioch. Michael, the Giants get a good win. How'd you feel tonight?
Hey, how you doing? I'm doing good today, of course, because Giants won. But still, there's still some concerns with their, closing and hitting. But I do want to, there's so many things I want to talk to you about. But what about the closer? Why don't we give the closing to Rodriguez instead of Duvall?
Well, I think one of the biggest questions there is the experience factor. We saw Rodriguez try to close in Colorado, and it failed. It's a different type of inning.
That's
it's
Colorado,
a different
though.
type of pressure, and other than that, you see him spotless in the 7th and 8th innings, but the 9th inning's a different type of pressure. It's a different type of part of the game, and you have to calm your nerves down, especially when you're pitching at a visiting stadium where it gets louder and louder and louder, and the pressure starts mounting at you. And I just saw him crumble in Colorado. And I think that's what the Giants thought also. Let's try him here and see if he can do it. And he walked a couple hitters, gave up a couple hits, ended up getting a loss. And you could see him frustrated. And I don't think he's ready for that. I think what he's perfect at is that 7th and 8th inning role, if you can mix Tyler Rogers in the middle of it. But it is questionable. A lot of fans talk about, is Duvall the closer? I don't think you want to see Ryan Walker back in the role. He has been ups and downs.
No, not right now.
But I think everybody's looking at Randy Rodriguez because he's so damn good.
Yeah, he is so good. And he's so calm, too. And, he's got the stuff. He's got the high velocity and all that stuff. Hey, one more question, and I'll take my answer offline.
Yeah, go ahead.
How much more patient do we have for Pat as a hitting coach?
Pat Burrell? Oh, they're not going to do anything. Pat Burrell, Damon Minor. No, none of those guys are going anywhere. All their contracts have been renewed. So what fans got to understand, sometimes, everybody wants to go after the coaches, the manager. Buster Posey came in. Hey, if somebody wants to come after me, come after me. I put the roster together. You have to look at the players. You have to look at what they're doing on the field. They're all working hard. They're all preparing so much. They go for early BP. The pitchers are throwing out of the bullpen. They're looking at videos. It's the preparation that the coaches are doing magnificently. But it's the players having to put that on the field. And I think a lot of it is they're not adjusting. They're seeing their things on their tablets, but they just are not adjusting to swing pass, making contact, swinging too hard, striking out much. But on the other side, the pitchers, I just think some of these young pitchers are trying to put too much pressure on themselves. When I see Birdsong and Roop kind of lose their train of thought and throwing strikes in the middle innings, it frustrates me, because those middle innings, you should be on fire. You should just be taking your thoughts and what you have and firing away. And they're starting to go a little back. They're starting to play a little more defense as a pitcher and trying to edge the corners and not get ahead of hitters. And that's what Roop did. It ain't got in trouble. Same thing with Birdsong.
Yeah.
Threw 10 straight balls yesterday. So I really, wish fans would start looking at what the players are doing right and wrong on the field rather than looking what the coaches are doing right and wrong. It's not going to change. The coaches are there. They like the coaches. The players like them. The players back Bob Melvin on his extension. And I'm right there with him. Let the players get better. And we're hopefully what we saw Jung Hoo Lee today getting 3 hits. Brett Wisely is a guy that's been up and down. He got a couple hits. Let's hope that these things start chipping away at some of the main players. But, Michael, thanks for the call tonight on a late night Wednesday. I appreciate all your information. Thanks so much, Michael. All right, we're going to take a quick break. I got Jeff Young coming on next. So I am Bill Lasky. This is Sports Phone KNBR on a Wednesday. Giants win today 6-5 in 10 innings. They're now 46-41 with one more game in Arizona. Then they're off to Sacramento to play the Sacramento Athletics on July 4th weekend. We'll be right back with more right here on the Sports Leader.
KNBR. Dial the digits or send us a text at 415-808-KNBR. We're streaming on YouTube all damn day at KNBR 1045.
Lee drives one to deep right field, headed toward the pool. McCarthy back, he'll leap, and he can't catch it. It's off the wall, coming around third, Wilmer Flores. He's going to score. Racing to third, Lee. The throw is late. He slides in safely with a triple.
Another 2-2. Lee swings and lines it out into right center field. He's got another hit. A long run. McCarthy will cut it off, but way out there in front of the warning track. Lee's speeding into second, and he'll make it in standing there with a double. So Jung-Hoo Lee's first two at-bats have gone triple and now double.
All right, welcome back to Sports Phone KNBR on a Wednesday. Giants end up winning this game 6-5, going 10 innings. My guest is on board. Of course, you can read his work on Round the Foghorn. He covers the Giants extremely well. Let's bring in my buddy Jeff Young. Jeff, how are you doing on a Wednesday night?
Hey, how's it going, Bill? Always good to chat after a Giants win.
Yeah, we haven't had too many chats, Jeff, because they haven't been winning much. So it's a nice first for me in a while. But a good game, and I want to talk just like the Open, what we just heard about Jung-Hoo Lee. Had a little more life in the bat today, really making great contact. Of course, the single, the double, and the triple. The speed by him once again, rounding the bases and running the bases. But I thought his outfield play has been very good lately.
Yeah, I mean, even though he hasn't been hitting well at the plate, he's still playing some pretty good defense out there in center field, and that's a premium position. So you got to have somebody who's good enough to be able to handle that spot, and he's done a nice job out there. Not only just with the range, but he has a really good arm out there too.
What about his at-bats tonight? What did you see different than he's been doing?
I don't know if I saw anything different. He's been making some hard contact. He just has not had a whole lot of luck or success recently. Today he found some holes. I think it was Jake McCarthy who almost made a really good play on the triple that he hit tonight. I mean, he's just been running into some bad luck there. If you look at, how he was succeeding earlier in the year, he was doing well when a lot of hits were finding holes, but after the first month of the year, the hits kind of dried up because they weren't finding any holes. So that's kind of been the season so far for Jung-Hoo Lee.
Jeff, with Christian Koss going on the IL, Brett Wisely now is playing some third base, and of course Wilmer Flores is doing that. It looks like Matt Chapman's getting closer and closer. We might even see him this weekend in Sacramento. What have you seen a little bit at third base? Because Wisely today played a great third base, I thought.
Yeah, Brett Wisely is pretty versatile out there. I mean, he can play second base, shortstop. He hasn't played a ton of third base with the Giants, but he looked good out there today. He's a pretty good defensive utility option out there. It gives him a little more versatility than some of their other options. He also had a couple of hits tonight to go along with it.
He sure did. He had that nice leadoff double in the fifth. He got the key hit in the eighth inning to drive in another run. Making good contact. Of course, he was always a good contact hitter. I was impressed in the whole game from him. I kind of had him and Jung-Hoo Lee as my pretty much stars of the game on the offensive side. Patrick Bailey had a nice hit for an RBI and then a sac fly in the 10th inning. A couple guys that need to get going, and I said that earlier, and I think this is if they can start chipping away and doing a little more positive things with their at-bats, this offense might wake up.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the Giants lineup right now, and they have so many soft spots in the lineup that it's really tough to get anything going. And if guys like Patrick Bailey or whoever's playing at second base, if Jung-Hoo Lee can get his numbers back up, I mean that covers up a lot of those soft spots. But Bailey in particular, I think he had a hit, 2 RBIs, and a walk today. He has looked a lot better recently. It's been kind of more modest improvements, but if you look how he performed in June, he had a 674 OPS in 56 plate appearances, which is not a terrible number, especially for a really good defensive catcher. So if he can get the bat going, if they can find the solutions at second base and Jung-Hoo Lee can look more like the guy he was earlier in the year, I think the lineup would have a lot more length to it.
Jeff, one of the players, of course, the big trade bringing Rafael Devers coming over here, he's just been a slump. He was 2 for 19 going into this game on this road trip. He got a nice key hit in the 5th inning. The swing path is just so strong. He swings so hard at so many pitches, punching out a lot. Were you kind of questioning some of his techniques of swinging? Because sometimes I just think he's trying to hit every ball out of the ballpark rather than being that guy to go the opposite way and putting the ball in play.
Well, he could do both. He's just the type of hitter that, when he does go to the opposite field, he has really good power going that way. It does look like he's trying to pull the ball a little more. Maybe that's been opening him up to a little more swing and miss. That's the only thing that really stands out to me. But generally, he's been a pretty decent contact hitter throughout his career. So I know he's had a bad stretch with the Giants. I wouldn't expect that to continue. And, hopefully today is kind of the starting point of something a little more positive with Devers.
Jeff Young joining me on the Sports Phone KNBR show on Wednesday. You can follow him on X at BaseballJeff1. You follow a little bit about Luis Matos. You talk a little bit about him, how he played in Sacramento and how he got sent down and started to hit the ball very well down there. What have you seen out of him lately?
It just looked like he was barreling up the pitches a little more, combining really hard contact with getting the barrel of the bat on the ball, and that's going to lead to a lot more hits. That's the only thing that really stood out to me. And really for Matos, it was just about getting everyday at bats. He was not getting that with the Giants earlier in the year, and I think the best thing for him was to go down to AAA so that he could see that consistent playing time and get a groove going. And he just looks a little more comfortable at the plate right now.
Yeah, I thought he swung the bat real well. He got that nice double yesterday. Today, really didn't do much. A ground ball to third, fly ball to left, fly ball to center. Worked a nice walk in that 8th inning. The defensive side of him, missing the cutoff man, really cost them. They could have got it out when they had bases loaded. What do you think happened right there?
It just looked like he overthrew the cutoff man. It just looked like a defensive miscue on his part, something that I think he wished he could take back and make the better play.
Yeah, sometimes they rush the throw. Sometimes they get questionable where to throw the ball, especially with so many people moving around the bases. Then the runner at third holds. The runner at second comes all the way around over to shortstop. Easy out at second base, but he missed it completely. Let's go to the pitching side. I really want to hear what you have to talk about with Hayden Birdsong, as well as Landon Root, both in these middle innings, the 4th, 5th, 6th innings. They kind of just lost consciousness of throwing strikes. Yesterday, I was baffled at watching Birdsong throw 10 straight balls, and here it is again, almost blueprint of it in the 5th inning, and Landon Root walks 2 guys before he gives up a base hit. I was talking earlier in his last 2 starts, Roop goes 11 1/3 innings against Boston and the White Sox and doesn't even give up a walk. What do you think is happening in the middle parts of these games?
Yeah, with Roop, it just looked like he lost the feel for his sinker. You look at his misses and all the balls that he threw, all the mislocations in that 5th inning. It typically came with his sinker. I like the game plan that he had today, starting with his changeup and mixing in his curveball a little more as the game progressed. But the sinker, he just didn't have the command for it tonight. That's kind of what stuck out to me. And with Hayden Birdsong, it's kind of, he just hasn't found a groove yet since moving into the rotation. He just couldn't throw any strikes yesterday before giving way to the bullpen. And I think I think the Giants would be wise to just stick with him in the rotation and just allow him to continue to develop, and that there's going to be some good and bad that comes with that.
Yeah, Jeff, Bob Melvin as well as J.P. Martinez said that earlier in the reports out of the clubhouse before the game that they are going to give him more starts. He's going to start in Sacramento on Sunday. It lines him up to pitch against the Dodgers in that last 3 games before the All-Star break. That's kind of a little question mark in my mind. I think they're really going to watch how he throws Sunday because there's a day off on Thursday, and they may be able to push up some of these starters up or not. But again, you got to look at see if Logan Webb and Robbie Ray make the All-Star game, and if that's something that they're going to want to throw in. What do you think the Giants could do with that off day? Do you think they'll change the rotation if he has another problem on Sunday?
Yeah, if he continues to run into problems on Sunday, I think they could look to make an adjustment. You really don't want a struggling young pitcher to go into face a lineup like Los Angeles. I mean, they're too good, and they have so many good hitters that it's setting them up for failure. So I think the Giants would be wise to think about what's not only best for Birdsong, but what's best for the team in that final series before the All-Star break. So if that's finding a way to hide Birdsong from that start, then maybe that's the best thing for them.
Well, Jeff, a lot of people want to know what the hell's going on with Camilo Duvall. Today he comes in, gives up a base hit, a home run. And I thought Bob Melvin did the right thing by pushing him out in the 10th inning. Is he, in your mind, is he their closer? Is he the guy that's going to take this team down the road? Do you think they can change? I know a lot of Giants fans are questioning this.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Giants hope that he can be the closer, even as he's had a couple of, bullpen mishaps lately. But yeah, I mean, he's experienced. He's got the stuff to be able to do it. He's got the mentality to do it. The things that stand out to me right now is just the really sharp decline in his strikeout rate. So that's just something to monitor. I mean, with a closer, I think you always want to have somebody who has really good swing and miss stuff, and he does, but he's not getting a lot of strikeouts this year compared to prior years. So I think that's just a number to monitor. He's been effective nonetheless, but it's just every time I watch him pitch, it's a number that just stands out to me as he's not getting as many strikeouts as he has in the past. So to answer your question, I think the Giants want him to be the closer because I don't know if they want to be in a position where they have to move Randy Rodriguez into the closer role because he adds so much value outside of those closer innings. He can come in the middle of the game. He can come in with runners on base. He can come in a clean inning. I think he just gives them a lot of versatility that Bob Melvin likes. So I think the Giants are hopeful that Duvall's their guy, even though he hasn't really looked like it recently.
I really believe what they did in Colorado by using Randy Rodriguez to try to clean that last game up, just to see if he could pitch the 9th inning. It's a different beast. It's a different animal that pitchers have to overcome, and it's more mental than physical. And you come into games, especially on visiting sides, it's so difficult to warm up. Crowds getting louder and louder. It's a tight game. The pressure mounts up. I think what they did, they tried Randy Rodriguez in that role. He's got lights out stuff, but I'm right with you. I think he's better in that 7th and 8th inning role until he gets a little older and puts more zeros on the board. He's been fantastic. Do you think he's got a shot to be on the All-Star team?
Yeah. I mean, it's always tough for a non-closing reliever to be on an All-Star team. Really, when I think it was in 2012 when or it was one year that Bruce Bochy was the manager of the All-Star team, and he was able to bring on Sergio Romo, even though he wasn't the closer at the time. But those instances are few and far between. So if I had to take a guess, I'd say probably not. But that doesn't take away from the really strong season that he's had, and he's been one of the best relievers. I mean, he's been arguably the best reliever in the National League. But with the All-Star game, it really favors closers and guys with a lot of saves.
Let me ask you this. Who do you think will be the All-Stars? Do you think Robbie Ray, Logan Webb? I would have to say both those guys have a great shot as pitchers. I don't know if there's another player that possibly could do it. Rafael Devers, of course, coming over from Boston with so many votes. But where do you think the All-Star, who's going to be picked from the Giants?
Yeah, I mean, I think the guys you mentioned, Logan Webb is a pretty easy guy to pick. He's probably even in the running to be the All-Star starter. And Robbie Ray has had a really nice season as well. I guess the third guy would be Randy Rodriguez if they had a third player on the roster. But Matt Chapman, I mean, it bears mentioning that he was probably going to be an all-star prior to the injury. He was having a really nice year and among the best third basemen in the National League before he sustained that hand injury. So if I had to take a guess, it's probably Logan Webb and Robbie Ray right now.
A couple more minutes with Jeff Young on Sports Phone KNBR. Let's look at tomorrow. Tomorrow's a big game. I really feel if the Giants could pull that out and split the Diamondbacks and go into Sacramento with some kind of momentum, it would definitely help. Because next week, 3 against Philadelphia, 3 against the Dodgers. Robbie Ray's got a lot on his plate tomorrow. I think a good outing, as you were both talking about being an all-star. He's got fantastic numbers on the year when you're looking at 98 in the third innings, 110 punch-outs, only 75 hits, 2.7 earned run average. What I like about a lefty going against this Diamondback team, they really stop a lot of these lefties from hitting the little punch and Judy hits they've had or that. Boy, they patented that in the last 3 games. What do you see in Robbie Ray going after the Diamondbacks tomorrow?
Well, Robbie Ray, more than just about any Giant starter right now, is he's got the strikeout stuff. So those bloop singles that they've had so much of in this series, you know, if Robbie Ray is who he has been, you know, the type of pitcher who misses a lot of bats, there's not going to be as much, you know, left to the BABIP luck or anything like that. So I think that's going to be the key for Robbie Ray, you know, trying to neutralize the Diamondbacks lineup and just trying to ensure that they don't get a rally going from those CNI singles and those bloop base hits.
Jeff, as we finish out here, you know, Giants fans were really panicking listening to the show the last few nights. Giants fans were really, really upset about how the team is hitting, how the team can't win. They were in first place 3 weeks ago. Now they're falling fast. Is there panic in your eyes? Do you feel this team's faltering? Do you think they're falling fast? Do you think they can rebound?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's tough because going into the year, if you looked at the projections, they saw the Giants as a 500 team. That's probably where I had them going into the year as well. But right now they're 46-41, so I think they've exceeded a lot of expectations up until this point. So it's just a matter of keeping that going. So I mean, I can't say I'm too concerned, and I just feel like you know, that the lineup has to rebound at some point. I mean, they've been really you know, they've been really struggling over the past it's 6+ weeks at this point. But there's just on paper those guys are better than the numbers they're putting up right now. So that makes me think that that the lineup is going to rebound. Now, is the rotation going to be able to continue to pitch as well as it has? Guys like Birdsong and Roop kind of reaching you know, innings limits. That's a different question. But you know, I like where the Giants are at right now. I know they've slumped, but you know, if you would have told me at the beginning of the year that they'd be 46-41, 87 games into the year, I'd say that's a pretty good number.
I'm right there with you, and I think we're going to find a lot more when Matt Chapman comes out and builds this lineup a little stronger and defensively better, and I think that's going to be the big jump that these Giants need. But, Jeff, it's always a pleasure having you on. Thanks for staying up late with me tonight, and it's always a great pleasure listening to your insight.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Bill.
All right, that was Jeff Young. Of course, you can read his work on Fanside. He follows the Giants and does a great work over there. All right, we're going to close up the Wednesday show. I want to thank my producer, Jacob Vellante, Jordan and Ryan for picking up the calls. I want to thank all you Giants fans for calling in as the Giants finally break a 4-game losing streak. They win in Arizona tonight in 10 innings, 6-5. 6 runs, 10 hits, 1 error for the Giants, 5 runs, 11 hits, and no errors for the Diamondbacks. Giants are now 46-41. We're going to do it all over again on Sports Phone KNBR. I'll be hosting tomorrow. And the first pitch will be at 6:40, where Robbie Ray takes the hill. He's 8-3 with a 2.75 earned run average, going against Brandon Pfaadt, 8-5 with a 5.38 earned run average. I want to thank all of you once again for listening in. As like I said I'll be right back here tomorrow and Friday, and then the weekend with extra innings. For Bill Lasky, be safe, be well, have a good rest of the night. More coming up right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.